Thank you for joining our performance series today. We are so excited to have Katie with us. We know your time is valuable, so we're starting right on time, and we appreciate you taking this hour out of your day to invest in yourself and your skills and your business. And the fact that you're here shows your commitment to being a person who's always learning and growing. For those that are new here who may not have been here with one of our sessions in the past, the Performance Series is a free monthly training that we offer the second Wednesday of every month. We always have powerful speakers and topics. And before we get started, we do want to ask if you can, if you're able to turn your camera on, that would be fantastic. It really does help with the energy, and speakers always enjoy to see your smiling face. Um, and then questions. Katie does like to have your questions during the session in the moment. So if you have a question, please come off mute and ask, or raise your Zoom hand and we'll call on you. She'll also have a Q&A at the end. So we hope for this to be a participatory session. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Katie and let her take it away.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I will introduce myself and then we'll get started. So this is me. I'm Katie Campbell, currently located in Philadelphia. I am a wife to Brett, who is a real estate agent for our entire family. He's a third generation realtor. Mom to, I call him Hurricane Connor. He's a 4-year-old wild child, as you can see from the photo. I've been in real estate for about 8 years. Prior to that, I was in wedding and event management as well as retail management for 10 years. I put coach on here because I didn't feel like listing 100 things. I'm most known as like the girl with 100 things going on at once. But I coach agents, admin. My husband sells, so I help out with his team. I do growth for certain teams, all sorts of stuff. So I started my real estate career with KW, have never left. Was in Dallas, moved up to Boston for a TL role, and then came to Philadelphia when we had our son. So been around for a minute, not as long as some people, I'm sure. One of the things that made me really passionate about this industry is how much I immediately started learning. I'm one of those people who has always been really invested in my work. And when I came to Keller Williams and they started talking about who you are as a person and aligning who you are with what you're doing and how your work can feed your soul and then you can help others, all of it just made me so warm and happy. And so I never left and continue to grow. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. So, a couple things we're going to go through this session I call Max Your Mission. It's talking about discovering your mission, maybe in a new light, how to implement it and integrate it into your life, and how to make decisions using your mission as your guide. I really love interactive sessions. And so, if you have a question, please chime in. If I ask questions, again, I'm a coach. I have a 4-year-old son. I love silence. I will sit here until somebody talks. So please participate if you're able, and let me know if you have. I don't anticipate a ton of hard questions, but if y'all want clarity on anything, let me know. All right, so let's talk first things first. What's a mission? A lot of people use these three words, goals, missions, and big why, kind of interchangeably within our industry specifically. I like to draw a clear delineation between them. So this is the short version. We'll go into it a little bit more in a minute. But a goal is an object of a person's ambition or effort. It's their aim or their desired result. So as we work through this today, I want you to think about that a goal is a result, whereas you can see your mission is a specific objective or purpose with which a person is called. And so it's you're calling it's much more personal than a goal. Your big why, which is what a lot of people love to use, it's your motivator and your driving force. If I were to ask you what your big why is, how many of you would say something like my family? What does that actually tell anyone? That you love your family, that you're working because of your family? What does it mean? What are you doing? How are you supporting them? How are you loving them? How are you impacting them? And how does that infiltrate every single decision and action item that you take? That was really difficult for me to understand. A little bit of my background. So when I was 15 years old, well, when I was 14 years old, I broke my back in 6 places. When I was 15, I was told that I had 6 months to live. I clearly have outlived that, or this is the longest 6 months of my life. We'll see. And with ongoing health issues, I was told that I could never have a child. I had had one miscarriage, and then after more testing, I was told that I could never have a kid. I could not sustain a pregnancy, and I wouldn't be able to be a mother. At that point, that had been the only thing that I truly wanted in life. And so I grieved that, and I accepted that. I very surprisingly got pregnant, and now have a 4-year-old son. And my entire life was centered around my big why is my son. And the day that somebody told me that's not a big why and that's not a mission, I got very, very angry at them and quite offended. But then he explained that who I am and the impact I have can't be summed up by saying my big why is my son. He may be my inspiration, he may be my motivation in some cases. My success doesn't weigh on my son's shoulders. He inspires me and changed me to evaluate why I'm on this earth and what I'm meant to do. Um, so I would challenge you to accept that it's okay to say that your family isn't quote unquote your big why. You are finding out your mission and how you can serve your family or your loved ones or your community with that mission. So let's get into it a little bit. I want to be very clear because as we go through this, people tend to bring up goals again and again as a mission. A goal has a set time frame and it can be accomplished in your lifetime. Your mission is always in progress. It's your calling. It is never finished. And so, as people who love to make GPSs and 411s and goal sheets and trackers and see where our measurement is going, your mission is a little bit more difficult to actually measure and it will never be accomplished. And if you feel that it's accomplished, that wasn't your mission. Goals are something that you have a check mark. You know that it's done. You know that you've done it. There's a measurable moment where you can say, I accomplished this. Your mission allows you to accomplish a lot, but it's always growing because you're always going and it's never, ever done. Again, this is kind of upsetting sometimes because all of us love to put that check mark there, but your mission is something so much greater than you, and it's a force that you want to move the earth with, and you cannot possibly put a check mark there. So let's talk through how you find it. Okay, there are some questions I'm going to be asking y'all in a few minutes, and I want you to allow yourself to take off the hat of I need to be a top producing real estate agent. I need to be number one in this. I need to be driven and I need to get rid of this bad habit because it doesn't get me towards my real estate goal. And I want you to think about things you at your core think really clearly. What are you passionate about? What are you naturally skilled at? And what gives you energy? And this doesn't have to be signing a listing agreement. This can be I love to sit outside with a book and read. It can be talking with my friend. It can be my perfect cup of coffee in the morning. What are you passionate about? Who do you like to impact? What gets you excited? What causes are you naturally drawn to? And I want y'all, we're going to take a couple minutes right now and write down some of these things. And then I'm going to ask for volunteers who would be willing to share some of the things that you're good at. Also, on your naturally skilled, please don't be humble. Please tell us what you're good at. Talk about your skills. All of you are uniquely gifted and skilled at something, and I want to hear it. So I'm going to set a timer for like 2 minutes, and let's take some time to write some of these down.
For those of you who just joined us, we are taking just a minute to write down a few things that you're passionate about. So that's why you're hearing silence at the moment.
He did not join a meditation session. All right. Who is willing to share some of their answers to these?
I'll go first.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. First, well, what am I passionate about? Um, I wrote a mission statement, and the short answer is helping new and struggling agents get to
Okay.
where they want to go. So, I really enjoy helping people get where they want to go. I think I'm good at making you feel seen and heard. Um, I don't mind answering questions. I sometimes I'm thinking, are you really listening? But I enjoy that part of helping people self-realize and get to where they want to go. Um, I don't give up very easily, and I really like to encourage people, and I gives me energy to talk to people and get to know their story.
I love that. Thank you. Would you say you're passionate? You said you like to help real estate agents learn. Are you passionate about teaching in general? You like to teach others with your knowledge?
You know what? I That's what people say. Oh, you're a teacher. I'm not really. I'm a facilitator. My
Okay, that's great.
husband is a teacher because he makes the plan. In fact, he'll make the plan and I just execute it. But going through and making it all organized, I'm not that good at that. But if you hand me something and say, "Okay, let's get this done," then I'm a great facilitator because I can listen and ask questions to help you get to where you want to go.
Okay, interesting. And is that true for you outside of the real estate world too?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. I love that. Thanks for sharing. Those are great. Who else wants to share something that they wrote down?
Well, I know I just joined
Cool.
it. Mine's fairly short, but I got it.
That's all right. We'll take it. I love that. Jump on in.
Well, I'm actually passionate about helping people that are going through probate,
Oh,
only
okay.
because I went through it and I didn't have any help. And so I want to make sure that people don't feel the way that I felt. And so I'm
Mhm.
there in all facets for it. Let's see. I'm naturally skilled at teaching. And the thing that gives me energy is actually teaching in workshops and events.
Ooh, okay. What about them? The interaction with people or the sharing of knowledge?
Actually all of it. The interaction, the sharing of knowledge, and actually just seeing joy on people's face. I'm huge on family. I'm huge on joy. I'll prefer a smile over a frown any day. I
Mm.
mean, I'm serious. I get up in the morning and I said, okay, what am I going to do? Am I going to have a smile or a frown? Regardless of what my circumstance is, how can I put even just a little bit of sunshine in a day? And it doesn't even have to be mine, a day that's going to help someone else have a great day.
I love that. That's really great. For your passionate, now you mentioned teaching a few times. Do you find that you like to help people through difficult times outside of real estate as well?
Yeah, definitely.
You do that through educating.
Hmm.
Do you like to learn a lot as well so that you have a lot of information to pass on?
Yes, I'm literally considered the human Google in my home. You're laughing, but I'm serious.
I laugh because I'm called the human Rolodex because I just love to get to know people. We're a good team. I love that. That's great. Okay, awesome. Anybody else have anything that they want to share? All right. I'm going to tell you the less of y'all that share, the more you're going to hear about mine. So we can talk about you or we can talk about me. All right. So let's talk about actually finding your mission. So keeping those questions in mind, What do you think your mission is, and how are we going to pursue it? So, what I want to do right now is think about those things, right? What are you passionate about? And I want you again to remove yourself from real estate when you think about this. What are you passionate about? How are you going to do this? And why does it matter? And so this one, we're going to take a little bit more time, and I want to plant a couple seeds and you can interpret them how you want. Remember that this is not a goal. So the mission for your life is not to teach all of the new agents in your market center. The mission for your life is not to, there is no number that you're putting there. This is more along what impact are you going to make? How are you going to help people? What are they going to feel when they're around you? And then how do you execute this? And the execution is, again, not a measurable number. So the execution is more about by who you are and what you do for the people in your world. Are you leading them? Are you serving them? How are you doing those things? I want you to think really deeply. So, my personal mission, and I'll read this at the end for you, mine has a lot to do with empowering other people through, and I say I will do this by, and then what kind of environment I want to create for people. The reason it matters has more to do with my story and how it impacts me. It's okay for you to be selfish. This is one moment in your life where you can say, I selfishly want to do this because it makes me feel good, because you were created for these things to make you feel good. Nobody else feels this way when they do these things. You were created for this. And so let's take a couple minutes, start jotting them down. I am going to ask for people to share through this because then we're going to kind of fine tune some of them. I'm going to share mine, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how we can plant some more questions so that you can kind of fine tune them over the next few days. So take a couple minutes. I'm not going to set a timer. I'm just going to watch y'all for when you're done and give it a first stab. All right, how we doing? See a few heads up. Okay, who is brave enough to share their first draft?
I'll go.
Okay.
I'm Angie McCarter. I love to help people and dogs to find homes. So I was part of a rescue um, in the previous location where we lived. So I say that I can help people buy real estate, right? I'm helping them find a home, find where they want to live, and networking dogs and animals and donating to reputable rescues. It fills my bucket. That's what makes my heart sing.
Okay, I love that. And so what's the main mission there of you love to find people homes, you love to find dogs home. Do you like to I want you to think bigger. Are you passionate about finding people a place to call home, or people and dogs? Connecting people to the place that feels like home, providing shelter and security to people. What's the bigger picture theme here? Because one day, I hate to break it to you, you're not going to be a realtor. And you were
Yeah,
created for a whole lot more than that.
that's coming soon because I'm pretty old. I'd like to be able to do that without even having to think about the money at all.
Mhm.
You know, I would like to get into a position where I am helping animals again. It just happened that the rescue that I was helping was not reputable, and
Mm,
we had to shut it down during COVID.
mm.
So
What do you love about helping animals?
you get to see when they bond with you. I have 4 dogs right now, and I helped a feral cat.
Okay.
And to see her change, like from her name was Hissy because she used to hiss at us, to where
Oh.
now my husband can pick her up.
Oh.
Yeah, she's still an outside cat, but you know, and my last rescue, I mean, dogs live, 15 to 18 years normally. Um, some of them live a little longer, some of them don't live that long. But I don't have children either. I couldn't have children, and I have stepdaughters. But the legacy I would like is to leave a huge amount of money to a rescue that is reputable, like that will help them and not. I used to pick up dogs from Dallas Animal Services and take them back to the rescue. And one year I did like 138 animals.
Wow.
So that actually gave me a feeling of I rescued you, and they
Yeah.
they love you for it. And
Yeah.
I mean, one of the last dogs I rescued for that, um, he jumped in the car. He was a pit. I thought he was going to bite my face off. He reached over and licked me on the cheek. So how can
Oh.
you beat that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't beat that.
It sounds to me like at the heart of it, you like providing security and helping people get to the point where they can feel secure and loved and at home. And I would encourage you to take some time to reflect on a life mission that centers around that, because you're finding people homes, which is where we feel secure and sheltered and hopefully loved. And I can hear the passion in your voice about the dogs, and you're providing security, hope, love, and a better future for them. And so I would encourage you to maybe reflect on some of those words or think about some others and incorporate those into your mission and see how it feels. It sounds like you are a hope bringer and just a calming person.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing. Who else wants to give it? Be a little brave and vulnerable.
Well, I'm back.
All right.
So I'm actually passionate about reading, kayaking, and traveling around the world, and then coming
Cool.
back and telling people about the adventure.
Fun.
And I actually do this because if I can give them a visual of what I've gone through, it gives them almost like a key to unlock the creativity in their own mind. And it allows them to, or I should say, it gives them permission to be and do something meaningful in their own life to be able to pass that to others.
Yep. I love that. So how does that look as a mission?
Everybody goes kayaking.
I actually had a friend who took a year to kayak in all 50 states.
See? That's it. But I don't know that as a mission, I do it more for, just trying to help people to see. Like for instance, I grew up and all I knew was my state, my city. Like we didn't go anywhere, didn't do anything. And so now
Mhm.
at my current age, I'm exposing my daughter to international trips and trying to break away from just a generational mindsets. My mom's like, "Oh, you shouldn't even travel. You should stay where you're at." And I'm like, there's a whole world that's a playground out here. And so it's like
Mhm.
I'm trying to get people to see something different, to do something different, to actually be okay with going against the norm.
So maybe you would be drawn towards like empowering and inspiring and really helping people unlock maybe preconceived notions, but allowing them to see the beauty and um, the creativity, like you said. It's kind of all art, right? When you go see other parts of the world, whether you're taking in different cultures, you meet different people, different ways of thinking, different foods. It's all just, it's a huge learning experience. And so maybe you love to help people change their perspective.
Mhm.
Maybe you want to unite people because it is a big world. And when you travel it, it feels really big because the trip is really big. And then you realize it's really small because we're all connected because we're all humans, right? And so
Mhm.
maybe there's something there about helping people. Maybe there's some freedom aspect of not feeling trapped and locked where they are and exposing themselves to uh, new locations, new thoughts, new ideas, new beauty.
You said that's so much better.
I'm just reading between the lines here. So maybe those are some words that you can think about and put it into a structure of what your mission is and how you're going to do it. But it sounds like you have a clear idea of how it plays out, but what's the meaning behind that?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. That's good. Who else?
So my name's Casey, and I'm actually from New Mexico, and I focus mostly in land and farms and ranches in real estate.
Wow.
So, and I've only been doing real estate for about 6 years, but before that, well, I said when I started doing real estate, I kind of have a split personality, because part of me really wants to help people. Like I serve on a lot of boards and stuff. And then there's the little bit of me that likes to make a little bit of money. So real estate kind of
Sure.
brought them together, and kind of made it to work. So basically I just wrote that the mission for my life is to passionately share the rural way of life with others through knowledge and advocating for rural values.
Cool. So what about that is exciting to you?
About sharing that is because maybe maybe I take a lot of pride in the way that I was raised, in having a lot of freedom in being able to do things that a lot of people don't. And as I've made it around the world, I find a lot of people kind of, they relate to it. And a lot of people, I don't really want to say that they're envious, but in a way, I feel like a lot of people kind of look at that and think that it's kind of like a mystical lifestyle to have the kind of freedom that we have. And the one thing about real estate that I've found is that, like, it just amazes me how many people are more like me than we sometimes have this divide in the country about one side and the other side. And it's, to me, it seems like that the people that that I'm around tend to have, like, we have more in common than we really do have differences. And I don't know if it's the land that makes us that way. You know, being out in the sunshine and stuff. I mean, I'm in New Mexico, so we get a lot of sun. Sun's good for our brains.
It does help.
Yeah, but I mean, I've gone to Washington, D.C. and advocated up there. I've served on a lot of boards. I like to help people get into agriculture. I also did 12 years in conservation. And so that's part of like what I'm showing land. I always talk to people and share my knowledge about how they can make things better, how they can address resource concerns, all of that.
I love that. So what happens, what's the impact on the world or your community when you get to share this with people? What changes?
So, I mean, it's kind of one of those that I kind of have a belief that, like, maybe we can't solve world problems, but we can solve problems in our communities. And then that grows, right? From a more local, which that's basically most of the organizations or grassroots organizations, right, that I serve on. And so, you know, I mean, I guess maybe you're just the light in the area that you're at. You want to say that, you know, it's just, you do what you can to help people in your community. And as they do better, then we all do better. At one of the franchise meetings, I think they said that we all rise together or we all sink together in the boat. And so similar concept.
Yeah. Sounds like you also want to preserve I'm trying to figure out how to say this because it sounds like it's also really focused on a healthy lifestyle, right? You talk about being out in the sun, you talk about interacting with people and making sure that you have that connection and community, because we know that when we get face to face with other humans and actually connect, we truly do discover the similarities, and it kind of makes the differences, I'm not going to say not as important, but it helps us see other people's perspectives because we then feel connected to them and we can understand. And so it sounds like you want to preserve this healthy community aspect and a way of living that allows people to truly connect with one another. So those might be things that you gravitate towards, it sounds like. But I really love that. That's really great. And I do want to say, I do agree with you because I heard you pause before this, that while it seems really huge, which these are supposed to be huge, but it seems really huge to say we're going to tackle world peace or something, but truly more healthier communities create a healthier world and a happier world and a more unified world. And so I do really just love that your focus is on that, because it feels impossible to be one person trying to heal a broken world, but it just takes one person to connect other people, and that is actually how it happens. So thanks for that. Awesome. Okay, anybody else want to share theirs, or are y'all ready to move on? Okay, let's go. So now that we know what your mission is or where you're going, here's your action items. And this looks like a whole lot, and that's okay. What are we going to do with all of this? So the first step, and I can send these out if y'all want. Your first step is to analyze, is what you're doing aligning with your mission? And again, I want y'all to just shift yourself out of work mode for this. You're going to think about your job, but does everything that you do in your life align with your mission? Because if it doesn't, these feelings of burnout and fatigue and frustration and all of the things that we see run rampant in our industry, it's because you are forcing your body to do something it wasn't created to do. Your mindset will never be positive if you are chasing a goal and a way of life that you personally were not uniquely tailored to pursue. And so you want to think about, does what you're doing align with your mission? This can be something like, I have a goal to sell X amount of houses because it will fund this and I can make these donations, or it will allow me to live this lifestyle. Whatever it looks like is fine. I'm not here to write the rules on that, but you do need to make sure that whatever you're doing does align. Living out of alignment is a very difficult thing. Get curious about the people in your world. If you have teammates, if you lead a team, if you have people that are surrounding you, do you know their mission? Can you keep them in alignment? Do your missions align? They don't have to be the same, but do they complement each other? Are you working side by side with people where you know what they're working for? Because let me tell you, we all have worked with people who we think that they are too overbearing, or we think that they ask too much. How does that look different when maybe you understand what their mission is and they're passionate about what's in front of them? And maybe your mission isn't the same. And so it feels so tedious to you and it feels so exhausting. They're living in what they're supposed to be doing and you're not. So get curious about the people around you. Personalize. How can you adapt your daily activities to be mission focused? What can you do? I like to talk about the 1%, right? If you can make yourself 1% better every day, your whole life, your entire life would look different. And so what can you change that maybe aligns with your mission? And if your mission is about connecting with people, then what phone call can you make? Or what conversation can you have with people? Who else can you connect with that day? Just make 1% better to get yourself more into alignment with what your actual mission is. What does that look like for you? And I do want to be very, very clear. Sometimes living in alignment with your mission means that you need to rest. And that is okay, because sometimes we need to recharge so that we can be the best that we can be. And you actually don't need a reason to rest. Stop justifying it with work. You don't have to be productive every moment. Sometimes your daily activity needs to allow yourself to rest more and to partake in those things that I asked, what gives you energy? And sometimes you just need to go do that. And if you aren't at the point where your entire day is filled with what you think your mission is, allow yourself the moments to go do that, right? If you want to be living your life helping dogs and you aren't there right this moment, make sure that you schedule in time where you get to go walk them or play with them or do something that satisfies that. The more and more, I don't know how many of you do any kind of visualization or a manifestation or you write affirmations, but if you have something that you want to do with your life and you are not actively infiltrating your life with that thing, you will never get there. And I am so sorry. But you aren't going to one day magically jump across this massive canyon and be living a completely different life. It comes by 1% changes over and over and over again. And then plan. So create your goals with your mission in mind. How does it change your plans? What goals are you going to set that are different now? What goals are you going to take off of your list because they actually don't further your mission and maybe they were ego-based? Maybe they're exhausting because they aren't meant for you. Maybe there's a goal that you've shoved to the side because it doesn't seem like it doesn't have as much recognition or it's not recognized by other people, but it actually would make you happy. How can you plan your goals? How can you plan your life? How can you plan your events to incorporate this into what you're doing daily? And then you're going to test it, okay? And this is my favorite thing and probably one of the most helpful things in my life. Create a decision-making filter. So once you feel like you have your mission down and you know what it is, this is your filter. And there is a very brilliant former MAPS coach named Brad Knowles who runs a market center up in Portland, Maine. Phenomenal human. If you ever get the chance to learn from him, please take it. And he talks about this. He got clear on what his mission was, and that became the decision maker for literally everything in his life. And I thought, okay, well, that sounds really intense, and I don't know about all that. It is so true, and it makes my life so much easier. So as we're approached with opportunities or different, whether it's job related, personal related, no matter what it is, your decision making filter is now, does this further my mission or not? And it doesn't have to look like work, but sometimes you have to just run it through that filter. And for him, it's really funny because his mission um, has a lot to do with raising his children and raising the community around there and teaching them. And he got goats, and they're his kids' goats because those goats get up at 5 a.m. every day, and those kids have to get up at 5 a.m. and go feed those goats. And he said, my children are becoming disciplined humans, and part of his mission is leaving the world in good hands. And so he's creating the human simple tooth. So he bought goats. I'm not saying go buy livestock, but allow it to be a filter for everything that you do. Accountability with your mission, consult your board of directors. If you don't have a board of directors, that should actually be your step one. Whether you've named one or not, you have a board of directors who's influencing your decisions. If you have 3 to 5 people that you talk to about decisions you're making, thoughts you're thinking, things you're pursuing, you have a board of directors. I would probably examine who they are. Are these people, they don't have to have your mission, but do they know yours? Will they hold you accountable and keeping you in alignment with it and on the right track? Are they people that you want your life to look like? Oftentimes you should have at least a couple who are a few steps ahead of you and some who are side by side. Are they unafraid to call you out if need be? And will they cheer for you when you win? So think about the people in your life. We've all heard, you're the sum or the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And it's so frequently said because it's so true. And not everybody deserves to hear the things that are weighing on your heart and the decisions that you're making. And so you need to figure out who your board of directors is. You can have probably up to 2, I would say, members who you don't personally know. Who's somebody that you always read their books and you take the advice, or you consult their teaching or their podcast, something like that, who's a mentor that maybe you don't know. The rest of them need to know you, and you need to be okay with allowing them in. And so get to know your board of directors and who they are, tell them what your mission is. And then, mine are wildly unafraid to just call me right out of like, why are you even, this doesn't make sense why you would consider this. It doesn't, that doesn't go in line with what you've been talking about. And they will just ask me about it and we will make a better plan. And then revisit your mission while you're goal setting. I think that doing this annually is probably the most helpful because you have to test a theory to make sure it's true. So here's the thing, your mission is probably going to change over time, but it should evolve. It's very unlikely that it's going to do a 180. Unless you have some traumatic event, and traumatic doesn't have to be bad, but a very disruptive event to your life, your mission likely will not change that much, but it should evolve, because if you are using it as a filter and you are growing as a person, then your mission should grow more too, because the people around you will grow. You will have a bigger vision. You will be able to see it in a much bigger light. If you're focused on it, it's going to expand. And so your mission should grow. That said, when you do your annual goal planning and goal setting, and you take a look at your mission and how you let it affect the goals that you set and how you let it influence your life, did it feel right? Did it kind of feel off? It's okay to be honest, and it's okay to change it. And it's okay to say, I think I got that wrong. I do really like that, but maybe that's not my whole mission. Maybe that doesn't define me as a person. And then I would circle back to your board of directors. Who do you see me as? What do you see me as? What am I passionate about? And then try and craft a new one. Make a new one and test it out. It's okay. It's okay to be wrong, and it's okay to adjust. It should adjust some while you grow. And with that, here's my contact info, and I am going to stop sharing in just a second. I'll put this all in the chat too. And if y'all have any questions or thoughts or anything at all, I would love to hear it.
Can you say that guy's name again? The one that was in Washington?
Yeah, I'll put him in the chat, and he's actually in Portland, Maine.
Oh, Maine, sorry.
Other side of the country,
Other
other
side,
Portland.
yeah.
Other Port, that's okay. I didn't specify. I'm sorry. Brad Knowles, I put it in the chat.
Katie, maybe I missed it, but what is your life's mission and how does it align with what you do on a day to day?
You did not miss it. I hadn't shared it yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm ahead.
You don't, no, you don't need to apologize. I said that I would, and I just hadn't yet, and I'm so glad that you remembered. So I'm actually gonna share my screen again in just a sec because I'm gonna show y'all this so that I can put a little proof here of how serious I am about this. So my personal mission is to empower others to discover their true potential and passion through connection and gratitude. And I will show you how much I care about it. This is my resume. This is my mission right there. So anybody that I'm looking to get into business with, they can see what I'm all about and who I am and what I want to do right there. And it's bigger than my contact information, and it's bigger than any job that I've held, because that is who I am and what I'm doing. And so if the job we're talking about doesn't allow me to empower others and show them how to live a life of gratitude and really believe in themselves, I don't want it. The second part of your question was, how does it affect what I do, or how do I align with it? So, okay, bear with me if I start crying. So I told y'all that I was given 6 months to live when I was 15 years old. And I lived the rest of my life for several years, feeling that if I wanted more than just to be alive, then that was ungrateful. Because how could I want anything more? I was spared. Like, I was spared from death. How could I possibly want more? And when I got into real estate, setting goals was very difficult for me. I was always a high performer at any other job that I had, but sitting down at a blank slate and trying to come up with a goal felt selfish, and it felt really uncomfortable, because I didn't want to want money or things or recognition. I was alive. And my coach came to me and was talking to me about it one day, and he said, God doesn't make decorations. I was like, not following, cool. And he said, he doesn't make decorations. Even the things that we think are just beautiful to look at, so trees, flowers, clouds, the sunshine, grass, whatever it is, they're all a very crucial part of our ecosystem. And he said, you are not a decoration, and you're sitting around like a decoration. You are just sitting there thinking that being an observer of life is the way that you can do it and be okay. He said, you have a unique purpose just for you, and your job isn't finished yet, which is why you're still here. And I said, you don't understand. I have been spared. I was given a gift, and I am breathing, and I would be ungrateful if I wanted more, or this quote unquote like big earthly life. And so he told me that wanting more might feel ungrateful to me. The most ungrateful thing that he could think of was for me to look in the eyes of my creator and say, thanks for giving me this talent, this skill, this passion, this hobby, these gifts. I'm all set. I'm just going to coast. So that seems way more ungrateful than hoping you make money so that you can help others. And I took that and ran, man. And so I started understanding that it's not just okay for me to live a big life. It's expected, and I better do it because I'm still here. And so everything that I do has to be a position where I can help other people understand how truly wonderful and truly loved they are. And so I love systems and operations, and I love people. And so if I can create a system or operations that help other people do something well so they can shine where they're talented, then that is what I want to do. And if I can be there to teach people, then that is what I want to do. But everything that I do is so that other people understand how important it is that they see how great they are. That's how.
For that.
Yeah.
Thank you. I love that.
Thanks. Good. It's not talked about enough that it's really important for and since it's just us girls up here, women especially have been taught forever to make yourself small.
Mhm.
And it's not only that you shouldn't have to, you better not. So they're the tears. So that's why I care that people find out their missions, because I don't want you living a life where you just kind of go along with whatever. I want you to do, all of you are creative for so many cool things, and you should go do them, because we got one life and actually all we have is today. So to do something important with it. So
I'll be calling you because I've been trying to put together kayaking classes for realtors. No, seriously, like
yeah,
kayaking class for realtors because
I love
water is
that.
calming and we need to be calm. And I was going to get a CE instructor to actually come out and do that. So, like, I was trying to do the thing because water calms me. And I was like,
I
hey,
love that.
you're more than invited. And then that
Mhm.
way, when we cry on the water, everyone will not see our tears. They'll just think it's the water.
Yeah, right into the water. Great. I love that. But see, okay, it doesn't have to be big and defined as like, I'm doing this because it's my mission to kayak, right? You love it. And so you're using it to further your mission. I recently picked up a hobby of crochet, um, which it was almost an accident. And then I accidentally realized it's actually really, really great for ADHD because it keeps my hands really occupied and then I can focus. And so what I realized is I can do that and create these like beautiful things and create blankets that help people feel warm and loved, and send little surprise blankets to people and make them feel appreciated. And then I discovered there's like a group of women in my area who really want to crochet together and learn from each other and be okay with being a beginner. And so, it's like this hobby that I just kind of loved, and I did it because I wanted to carve out some time to do something that I just, I don't know, it seems fun, so I'll do it, because part of me understanding that I'm like uniquely created is that I should allow myself to just have fun and not be productive. But it led to me connecting with other people. And so those things you like, it's okay, go do them for fun. It's good. Something good will come out of it. Go kayak. I love kayaking. Now I love crocheting. I don't know. Who knows?
Fantastic. Katie, this was excellent. And I loved that
Oh,
it was
thanks.
such an intimate group. I really do
I
appreciate you
do too.
taking this time with us today. This was great.
No, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And I saw, thanks, you put my contact info in there. If any of y'all want to reach out, I love friends. I even have a podcast called We're Your Friends Now, because I just love people. So um, reach out. I would love to talk to you, and I appreciate you having me so much.
Thank you. All right, you guys, that's our time. We will send out this recording in all the places. So be on the lookout for that. And we hope to see you next month. April 9th is the date for our performance series next month. And we'll see you then. Thanks, everyone.